So, I live in Jamaica, I cook a ton of Jamaican food, but this dish, never heard of it until this year. Big thanks to the viewer who mentioned Pakasa. Your comment sent me straight down a rabbit hole. It's a coconut based dish, but it's not something you'll find in a cookbook. It's a true hidden gem. Hey, I'm Nick and today I'm trying Pakasa for the first time. I have no idea what to expect, but that's what makes this so exciting, so let's find out together. Pakasa is a one-pot meal that goes by many names. But let me know in the comments what you know Pakasa as, if you know Pakasa. This dish is incredibly simple and versatile. Essentially whatever starchy veggies you can find simmered in coconut milk. Imagine for a second, you're low on cash but you do small scale mixed farming, you have a variety of ground provisions and a few coconut trees at the edge of your farm. A few banana plants, a breadfruit tree and some dasheen down by the stream. That right there is the recipe for pakasa, a dish born out of necessity. Pakasa is similar to Ital stew in that it's a one-pot meal that uses coconut milk. Jamaican rundown or Grenadian isledong also share a few similarities. But unlike these dishes, pakasa is more about simplicity. Just coconut milk and whatever you have. I don't actually have a farm, but vegetable prices are relatively low now, so the market is my farm. Let's get into some of the veggies I'm using, but before that I have some saltfish or salted cod. I'm going to rinse off the excess salt and soak this in water for about an hour to remove the rest. You could boil this to remove the salt in minutes, but soaking retains much better flavor and texture. Saltfish was once extremely cheap, so it made sense to include it in pakasa to give it some additional protein. Ironically though, today saltfish prices on par are in some cases more expensive than other fresh protein. Set that aside and we can now talk about the vegetables. First up we have dried coconut. This is the backbone of pakasa and it's the only ingredient we have to have. Green breadfruit, these are very popular in Jamaica and in most rural areas you can find a tree and get a few for free. I did a breadfruit deep dive video that I will link below. It's a great watch if you love breadfruit. It's not my favorite starch but I still think boiled breadfruit is underrated. Pumpkin, this adds a bit of color to the otherwise white dish. It's also really delicious. I'm adding carrots too. From what I know it's not really popular in pakasa but pakasa is whatever you have. Can't forget a bit of heat and spice. This is taro root. This variety is locally known as cocoa. These are not as popular as they used to be but a lot of people love them roasted or in soups. This next taro is my favorite. This is dasheen and it has an incredible taste and texture. The color is also really nice. This is China yam. I got this from my mom. You don't really see these at the market as they are kinda rare. Not as rare, but I also have some yellow yam. Green banana. Something I'm always curious about is why some Caribbean countries call this green fig. I would love to know, especially if you're from St. Lucia. Finally, we have callaloo. Not a popular ingredient in pakasa, but I'm going to do something special with this later. Alright, let's get cooking. I need a pot on medium heat. I'm starting with a splash of oil because we're going to saute some aromatics. Most of the recipes I've seen don't really do this, but this will easily add some great flavor. I'm only using scallion, onion, garlic and a bit of habanero and scotch bonnet for heat and pepper flavor. Just chop those and next we can add them to our hot pan. I'm giving these a nice saute until they get limp and start to brown. Our next ingredient is fresh coconut milk. I recently did a detailed video on making coconut milk from scratch. I'll link it below. Whenever we make coconut milk from scratch, we end up with coconut pulp. In the link video, I show you how to make coconut flour, but I'm going to save the coconut pulp for something special later. Next, add the coconut milk to the sauteed veggies and place the heat on medium-low. And now we can get our ground provisions ready. Green breadfruit takes the longest to cook, so I'm starting with that. They are typically left bigger, but I'm cutting all my ground provisions to around bite-sized pieces. I think that works better for presentation and it's easier to eat. Depending on the particular breadfruit, it might take as much as 20 minutes to cook tender, so let's use that time to prep the rest of the other veggies. The biggest consideration is just the cook time of each vegetable. I'm going to add the ones that take a bit more time to cook much earlier and add the softer ones that break down easily towards the end. Some of these vegetables will oxidize and turn black, so I'm storing them in water until I'm ready for them. Let's check the breadfruit to see how they are doing. Once the breadfruit is almost cooked like this, and this breadfruit was surprisingly soft, we can now go ahead and add the next round of vegetables. All of these take roughly the same time to cook through. I'm going to let this simmer while we work on the other ingredients. Remember that callaloo I showed you earlier? I'm going to puree a couple stalks of it. I'm using as little water as possible to get it to puree. Great, we now have a really green callaloo puree. Remember that leftover coconut pulp we had from earlier? I'm going to add about a cup of it to the callaloo puree. Next, I'm adding enough flour to form a dough. This ended up taking 2 cups. Add a bit of salt to taste. I'm going to knead this until it comes together and forms a dough. If it's too wet, we can simply add a bit more flour. And there you have it. That right there is the dough for our Callaloo Coconut Dumplings. It's a great way to use up coconut pulp, and the addition of callaloo gives this a vivid green color. After resting, I'm going to form some mini dumplings. That's just to match the size of the other ingredients. Typically, it's white flour or cornmeal dumplings that are used in Pakasa, but this is a really nice way to mix things up. I will link a detailed guide to boiled dumplings where I try out a really long list of different dumpling varieties. It's a really great watch, so make sure you check that out. These small dumplings won't take long to cook, so we can add them after the veggies. We can now add the pumpkin, which cooks and falls apart really quick. And our final vegetable is a few fingers of green banana. Our final ingredient takes very little time to cook, but aside from that, all that's left now is to simmer this until all the veggies are cooked through. Remember that saltfish we left soaking in water? It's time to get it ready. I'm going to clean this up and remove the skin and bones. A benefit of boiling saltfish is that it's a lot easier to clean up. I don't mind soaking it though. What I lose in soaking and cleanup time, I gain back in flavor and texture. This does not actually have to be saltfish. I see a lot of people swear by shellfish for Pakasa, like lobster and shrimp. I have no doubt that that will be really good. Shellfish are incredible with coconut. Proteins are also optional, so you could keep this as a really delicious plant-based dish. Great, once all the saltfish is cleaned, we can now add it to the pot. That will only take a few minutes to cook. The saltfish still has a bit of salt, so there's still enough left in there to season the whole pot. I've seen some people use powdered seasonings or chicken noodle soup mix in their pakasa. That's an option for adding flavor, and that will also add a bit of salt. I wanted a much cleaner taste, so that's why I did the sauteed aromatics at the beginning of the cooking. That's enough to develop some great flavor. That needs maybe another 5 minutes, then we'll be ready. That smells incredible. Everything is perfectly cooked, and I'm sure that's what you want to see with Pakasa. The coconut milk is now thick and rich and coating each piece of vegetable nicely. To finish this off, I'm using a bit of fresh thyme because dry thyme is a scam. I really can't believe this dish is not more popular, and I can't believe I'm only just now finding out about it. Now, let's give this a taste to see how we did. I'm garnishing with some sliced habaneros for a bit of extra heat and some scallion greens. That's a beautiful bowl of pakasa. Of course, I'm trying that callaloo dumpling first with a bit of saltfish. I love how that coconut sauce looks. That is it. I love that sweet nutty flavor of the coconut, and the callaloo dumpling is a banger. I'm so happy I get to add this dish to my repertoire, and I hope you do too. Big thanks to the viewer who commented, and big thanks to you for watching. Will you be trying pakasa? Let me know down in the comments. This was delicious. If you love this coconut dish, you have to check out this one right here. Catch you in the next one.